Welcome to Telling the Tale. I'm your host, Mitchell Farley Wolfe, and I'm here, as per usual, with my darling co-host, Dustin Jackson. How's it going?
You know what, Mitchell? You're not looking at Dustin Jackson. You're talking to new Dustin Jackson.
Ooh, okay. What are the new features? What can I expect? What's interesting and innovative?
I'm the same, but I raise my eyebrow more.
Okay, I can dig that because I'll to get a little sappy. I liked Dustin Jackson, old.
Yeah, he was pretty good, but now you're stuck with me.
Yeah, I wanted more range out of the eyebrows. I will say that.
Yeah, it is an upgrade.
Yeah, if there was a complaint I was going to lodge, that would probably be in the top 5. So.
Yeah, now I'm perfect.
Yeah, no problems whatsoever. Today, in our quest to play through every Telltale video game released while they were an active video game releasing company, we've done exactly not that.
Yeah, better luck next time.
Yeah, you know what? It's been... when this game came out, which is New Tales from the Borderlands, produced and developed and everything by Gearbox, when this game came out, I was just in the mindset of like, oh, sure, we have to cover it. You know, it's not only like a sequel to a Telltale game in the way that Return to Monkey Island is the sequel to Tales from Monkey Island.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the same like choose your own adventure, narrative adventure game style as Telltale. It's also in 5 episodes. It also has a bunch of staff members, although I have only heard that and have been unable to confirm specific names, but I'll take their word for it. From Telltale. So that's, you know, that stuff's all cool. Of course we have to cover it, but now that we're doing it, I'm just thinking, oh man, we've got like 50, 60 more games to do. and we're
doing this
delaying
one
that by 5 weeks by doing this.
Yeah, well, you know, this can be a little holiday gift for our listeners.
I think that's what they want.
And if it's not, well, it's what you're getting.
So, New Tales from the Borderlands. Today we're going to be covering just the first of the 5 episodes in the package. This is an episodic game with clear breakdowns between the episodes, just like the Telltale games, but it was all released at once as one AAA retail package.
Right.
Very similar to Jurassic Park. Did the same thing.
Ooh. It hurts when you compare anything to Jurassic Park, but I get what you mean.
It is similar in the way the episodes are to
Yeah.
Jurassic Park and not many other things. Episode 1 is called Startup. We'll be talking about that today. It, along with the entire package, was released on October 21st, 2022. Isn't it weird to have a release date that's like, oh, that's less than 2 months ago?
Yeah. Was it the same for Return to Monkey Island? I feel like we did that one not too long after it came out.
Oh, yeah. We did that less than 1 month after it came out.
Perfect. Then I guess 2 months isn't that weird.
Yeah, but with that one, it felt like, okay, this is a very
special occasion.
A very
one
special,
shot.
like, divorcing from the regular patter of the show, the regular schedule. This is like more Telltale games. It just feels like, oh, we're still doing it. We're still... They really did their darndest to make it feel like an additional Telltale game that could have been the sequel to Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah.
If they did one of those at the time.
It's very, it was interesting going in and just having it play exactly the same. Like, I figured that's how it would be, but just seeing someone else do exactly the later narrative Telltale formula,
mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's a little weird because I don't think anyone else has done it. Like exactly like this.
Yeah, definitely has happened to some degree in the indie space.
Mm-hmm.
Not like exactly though. Most people are tweaking it in one way or another. One game that comes to mind as taking a lot of inspiration from the Telltale formula is Life is Strange.
Oh, yeah. I've never played Life is Strange. I have a friend who's really into it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I haven't either, and I know that it has a lot of the respond to thing other person said with one of three options or silence.
Right.
Like, it has that in it. But also it has, like, superpowers. You play around with superpowers in a more gamey kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not taking the exact Telltale formula. Although, I do think that Telltale themselves don't always take the exact formula.
Right.
There was a lot of stuff, like even in old Tales from the Borderlands, the fact that you were accumulating money each episode felt kind of different and weird. Although it didn't do that much, it still was something to make it feel a little more Borderlandsy than it did Telltale-y.
Yeah, it was nice. I liked getting money.
Yeah, I liked getting money. I also like getting money. So with this, with Return to Monkey Island, with Sam and Max, this time it's virtual, which I know both of us have not yet played, but we have some knowledge about it. And the upcoming The Expanse, the Telltale game series, and The Wolf Among Us 2. We are looking at a lot of follow-ups to Telltale's legacy. More so than, frankly, I would have assumed would happen when we started this podcast. Which is good news in general. It's hard news for the podcast in production, but it's a good thing.
Yeah,
in general.
Exactly.
That said, they are very spread out. They're very diversely spread out and owned and developed. They're all different teams. There's some collaboration maybe, but the people have landed where they've landed. How do you feel about Gearbox owning a part of this legacy?
It's hard to really say because I feel like I don't think I am it's an uncommon opinion at least amongst the two of us here to say that the first Tales from the Borderlands felt more Telltale than Gearbox. And I feel the opposite about this one.
Yeah. Well, I will say that the first Tales from the Borderlands did still feel pretty Borderlandsy. It's not there, you know. The epic adventure storyline that maybe is similar to the kind of epic adventure storyline you'd see in a Marvel movie or a Star Wars movie that it is done in Borderlands and not typically done in other Telltale games, was there in Tales from the Borderlands. And you're right. I think it just like straddled the Telltale side of it.
Yeah, exactly.
More. Mm-hmm. And then this one straddles the other side of it.
Yeah. I will say I think they did an okay job at making it still feel like its own thing. Like, just being this gameplay style helps it still stand apart from the Borderlands series in general. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I just pulled that out of my ass. I haven't played the Borderlands games.
Oh, well, you know, I'll tell you something I did this week.
What the?
I was inspired by Adam, which, by the way, if you haven't listened to our finale on Tales from the Borderlands, you probably should before listening to any of our new Tales from the Borderlands episodes. But we had Adam on, Dustin's roommate, and he actually had some information on the Borderlands series, which was more than either of us combined. And he was talking about Borderlands 3 a little bit, and well, frankly, he didn't have very positive reviews of it, but the things he was saying about it did make me curious. So I looked up some clips and some screenshots. I watched some playthrough of Borderlands 3 just to have a little more context. Not a lot, not the whole game, but I saw Reese in there.
Ooh, our boy Reese.
And I am impressed with how Borderlands 3 looks and feels very different from Tales from the Borderlands, and new Tales from the Borderlands looks and feels very different from Borderlands 3. It's not like they're kind of just building off 3 for the aesthetic and tone of this as well. Although there's some of that, there's a lot of unique ideas here that make this story very much feel like its own story.
Right. That's good. I like that at least.
Yeah. So should we just jump in, or do we have anything else to say? Oh, you know what? I looked up the credits because you can access those before you start playing the game in the extras menu. And I was hoping to find, writer, director, designer information on an episode by episode basis. Couldn't find it.
Right.
Yeah, all the credits in this game seem to be combined into one thing, which makes sense because it's like really the episodes are like levels.
Yeah, they all released at once as opposed to episodically.
Yeah, but in the credits, before it starts listing names, it has a few paragraphs just about the context in which the game was developed, which was very cool. It also like referenced things in the game, so I was trying to not read that.
It's a minefield.
I didn't want to spoil myself, but I did want to, know more about the development of the game. And they were talking about how this game was developed largely in quarantine. It started like a month or two after quarantine, or after March of 2020.
Right.
Which is interesting for a couple reasons. One, that's a rough time to start making a video game. I know from example. Two, that's very soon after Telltale folded. Sort of.
Yeah.
It's like a year and a half after Telltale folded.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get news that this game was happening until just a couple months before it came out. And,
right.
But I guess it had been in development since all of quarantine. And it's interesting to figure out how that happened, because I think Monkey Island was on a similar timetable.
Yeah, I was just about to bring up the paragraph in the scrapbook in Return to Monkey Island, how if I remember right, they started around that same time.
I wonder if there was like a waiting period to determine, okay, is Telltale really dead? Because if they're not really dead, then they should pick up their own IPs and stuff. We'll give them a year and a half. Oh, they're really dead? Okay, I'll scrounge. I'll
just
start
go
making.
for it.
Yeah, we'll do the next Tales from the Borderlands. Ron Gilbert will do the next Monkey Island. The Neo Telltale can do their own Wolf Among Us. Some other people can do Sam & Max. Like, we'll give it a year and a half out of respect. I don't know. Is it respect, or is it just that's when the idea kicks in at the year and a half period?
It's especially interesting for this. I kind of wonder if Telltale themselves didn't have any interest in doing a sequel, but Gearbox did. So once Telltale was gone, they could just go ahead and go for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I would actually assume that Telltale might have wanted to do a sequel, considering that there were some Telltale employees on this new game.
That's true.
Although, it was a big company with a lot of different employees, and all of those employees probably had individual differing opinions on what things need sequels and what things don't.
Plus a lot of IPs and business deals they already had going on.
Yeah. And then, so right after that in the credits, it says Gearbox is, and then it's every employee at Gearbox in alphabetical order.
Huh.
So there's no there's no descriptor on what they did.
So we just couldn't even figure out who wrote this or who did what.
It would be very hard.
That sucks.
Yeah, there was, if I remember correctly, in the sort of musical numbers that they brought over from the first game, there was a bit of like directed by, written by in the corner, but like those were always less reliable than the actual credits because they differed, and it didn't say everything. Like normally it would say writers, but then I wanted the designers too, and I would have to read the credits for those. And so yeah, that's that information. I'd love to know if anyone out there is knowledgeable about that. Please send that in to me. I'll bring it up on the show. But yeah, I do have written by credits. I have that.
That's good. So, at least we got something.
The head of writing is Lynn Joyce.
Okay.
And the lead writer is Doug Lieblich.
Okay. I don't know.
So
either
there you
of them.
go. Yeah, I don't know those people, and I also don't know what head of writing versus lead writer. I don't know how that shakes out.
Maybe, and I have no idea to know if this is true, but maybe lead writer is like the person who actually wrote the episode, while the other one is like broad strokes, like kind of figuring out the story, the broad strokes of the story, while the other handles like the dialogue and stuff. I mean, so that's just a guess.
Head of is like narrative design, and then lead writer is like the words and letters.
I think so. I mean, I have no way to know, but
yeah, on the team that I am on, we don't have that specific distinction. Yeah, it's been a big part of my education in video game development over the last couple of years has been the realization that every single studio does titles differently. There's no standardization across it, really, because of a lack of unionization for the most part. But we just don't know. We just don't know. Someone's like senior designer could be creative director at a different studio, and but then that other studio's senior designer is like, oh yeah, they're a level designer at that first studio or something like that.
Head of story could be the person who composed the soundtrack.
Yeah. Head of story could be like stories on a building, and they like did the architecture.
Yeah, we made sure everyone could stand on different floors.
That is a difficult engineering problem, getting people in the same location but different z-axis positions. Hard to do sometimes. Also, just really quick before we actually dive into the episode, I'm still playing around in the menus. A lot of settings. Like a lot of settings.
Yeah, I like that. I was watching... So Adam played before I played, and I was watching him kind of fiddle around with it. And yeah, there's a lot. Like different styles for the subtitles, sizes, all sorts of crazy stuff.
A lot of accessibility options, which is really cool. I love seeing that. I used none of the settings, but I liked that they were there.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And then you just see three people who I didn't know yet, but would turn out to be the three playable characters of this game, eating like purple tacos.
They say those are the best kind.
The purple kind. Yeah, let's dive into the episode.
Okay, I guess we can do that. I have a question for you just starting out.
Yeah.
How do you feel about having three playable characters we're jumping around between?
Well, my mind went to Bone. Because Bone
as it always does.
Yeah, as it always does. Bone Out from Boneville had the three Bone characters as well. And I don't believe we've done that since?
Yeah.
I think.
I don't think so.
Yeah. No, there's Wallace and Gromit's 2, and then Tales from the Borderlands was 2. Sam and Max was almost always just 1. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is the first time since Bone.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't really care for it. I mean, it could change going forward, but I felt like having us skip across 3 characters instead of 2, that means everyone gets less time to be on screen and let you know who they are and get used to them. And I feel like it kind of hurts the narrative this time.
Well, that's a good point you're bringing up, because we're now 21 minutes into the recording. But Dustin, did you like it? Did you like the episode?
I thought it was. I didn't think it was like the worst thing ever yet. But I liked bits of it, but there is just something missing from it. Like,
yeah,
it's definitely a significantly worse start than the first Tales from the Borderland, which just hit the ground running. That first episode is crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like having to juggle 3 characters is part of why it couldn't have that same strength. Because all 3 of these main characters, none of them I could really get a good feel for. Well, in the first episode of Tales from the Borderlands, it did. I knew Reese. I knew Fiona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the first episode, you get Reese, Fiona, Vaughn, Sasha, August, Vasquez.
Yeah.
A lot of characters.
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
Yvette.
that's just switching between 2 different sides of the story, so everything can kind of sink in a little better. Here it's going all over the place, and I it's not like impossible to follow. It's easy enough to follow, but yeah, because of that, none of the characters really grew on me that much.
Yeah, at the very end of the episode, the 3 characters come together, but they actually don't say anything to each other yet. Like, that's your cue for episode 2.
Yeah, like,
and
two
I'm
of
thinking,
them kind of speak to each other a bit, but the episode ends with the 3 coming together.
And I wonder if they feel more licensed to do that, like to wait so long to have their main characters talk to each other, because it's because you don't have to wait months between episodes.
Right, you can just jump right into it.
Yeah. Still, though, we are covering this game as if you did, because we're covering it the same way. Maybe that's unfair, but I did feel a weird bit of like, okay, are we... Yeah, I agree with you. The 3 different settings for each of these characters feels very different from each other.
Yeah.
And I would have to say the weakest is probably the first one you're given, which is Dr. Anu Dar. She is
Atlas?
Yeah, on Atlas. She is a scientist, and she's got an assistant named Fong, and she developed a teleportation gun which mimics the abilities of a Borderlands enemy type called the Siren, who can teleport things.
Right. I have no idea what a siren is, but I got the gist. It's pretty easy to follow.
Yeah, so she seems to be like a super fan of these things called the Sirens.
Right.
And yeah, she made a gun-like device that can shoot a beam at something and teleport it somewhere, but she does not know where or when in space-time it ended up.
That seems like a big thing to figure out.
Yeah, and there's like this weird thing going on where she's championing this idea of like, okay, it ends conflict, but not in a way that kills people, because I can just move them away. If someone's being mean to me, I just say, okay, go away.
You are somewhere else now.
Yeah, and I mean that's clearly even from before they start having conversations about the logistics of that. I think it should be clear, oh, this can be as deadly as anything else.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, just put them in a volcano, and that's,
problem solved.
Yeah, but the deciding where and when to put them and how to find out where they went is future development. Right now, we just have the teleportation part.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you like this character?
I don't.
You don't like Anu?
I wanted to like Anu because of the descriptions we got of the 3 characters we got. There's a scientist, which is her. her brother Octavio, who's like a streetwise entrepreneur type guy. He's always got a grift going on. He's always trying to start his business, but in a way that like people from high school who haven't called you in years call you up to say like, you got to get in on my business. That kind of business, not like a real one.
Right.
And Fran, who runs a frozen yogurt shop, other than being intrigued of just what is it going to be like to play as a frozen yogurt salesperson in Borderlands, I was mostly excited about playing as Anu. I felt like she had the most narrative potential, and maybe individually I could relate to that more. So I thought that would be cool.
And it wasn't, was it?
Well, I wonder if each of the 3 sections had like a different writer.
Ooh, I could see that. I do feel like her sections were the most quippy, but that's mostly because of her assistant Flong.
Flong is written in an unbelievable way.
I hate her. I cannot stand this character.
Yeah. So,
but in a way, I thought that was very funny. I was laughing at how much I disliked Flong.
Yeah, but like it's so unaware.
Yeah.
Right? Like it doesn't seem like, oh, we know we're kind of being campy.
Exactly.
It's not that.
It feels like they're trying to be cool and funny and saying, "Yeah, we're really good."
Yeah, the way I don't want to and can't remember most of her lines that made me feel this way. But the vibe reminded me a lot of when Avengers Age of Ultron came out and people really started to sort of unite on finding Joss Whedon's writing style somewhat annoying.
Right.
Because you got the Avengers trying to take down neo-Nazis and have interpersonal relationships, and the stakes are high, and they're always just like, okay, and what are you? But just the whole time doing little quips. Fong and Dr. Anu as well, but like sort of the more relaxed side of it. We're just doing this the whole time, and the
entire time,
because that's the first section of the game that you see. I was so nervous. I thought like, oh,
is this what the game's gonna be?
The whole game? Yeah, luckily no. As soon as you go to Octavio's section or Fran's section, it's not that way anymore.
Yeah.
But for the first whole section, it really is.
Yeah. You know what? Something else I noticed, comparing Anu's section to the others, maybe it's just me, but I also felt like the character animation was not as good. I don't like when we were first here, just the way the characters moved, I was like, this feels like the Donkey Kong Country cartoon. Like it felt very unnatural, and I was like, okay. Oh Jesus, what's wrong? But then like immediately when we go to Octavio, it's not like that anymore. Maybe it's just something in my brain, but it felt like the character animations for Anu's part were not as good as other parts.
That's very interesting. I wonder if there's something I didn't notice that. I'll just say, but I did feel that when we went to Octavio's part, which takes place planet side. By the way, we're on a different planet. This is a much more developed planet. I think it's fair to say. Much more urban planet than the desert planet of Pandora. Now we're on Promethea, which is another Greek myth name, and I wonder if that's just something. I don't know.
I like
most
that
of
we're
our
not
planets, the real solar system planets, are named after Roman gods, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that we're on a different planet, getting to see a different sort of setting.
Yeah.
I don't know how often they go to different planets in the Borderlands series. I just assumed the other one was like the main one you're at all the time.
Well, it seems like it was to start, but in Borderlands 3 you do a lot of planet hopping.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is kind of this is post Borderlands 3, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they said a year after Borderlands 3.
Okay.
Or maybe more, I don't know. But some time has passed since Borderlands 3. And Promethea is a cool planet. Like, right off the bat, I really like the vibe of this this town. It feels very Hey Arnoldy.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, like the 90s impression of what the 50s impression of what New York was. Except for some reason it doesn't take place in New York.
Yeah, it's not very clean. It is a lot better than Pandora, but there's still like trash everywhere. It's still very You get what I mean. I don't even know what word I'm looking for, but you get the general vibe of it very quickly. Yeah,
and like you just see Octavio walking past a bunch of people, and he knows everyone in town. I thought it was a breath of fresh air after the Anu section, frankly.
Yeah.
But he's like talking to the pizza guy, and he says, "Hey, Papa, whatever your name is, how are the calzones going?" And the pizza guy says, "Oh, they're very good." And then Octavio says, "Yeah, you should probably drop that problematic accent, though." And the pizza guy says, yeah, sorry."
What a choice.
Yeah, what an interesting joke. I don't know how to interpret the joke. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Yeah, and there's like little food stands everywhere. His friends like to meet up at a taco shop. Good direction on this area. I really like the town.
Yeah, I don't want to say I like love any of these characters either yet, but I kind of liked their just a gang of friends hanging out.
So before we go to Octavio, though, I want to stay in order a little bit.
Okay.
Anu has to talk because she's behind schedule and causing trouble and over budget.
She released all the monkeys.
She released all the monkeys, which is a real thing she did, in this space station. She works for Atlas, which means she's an employee of Reese Strongfork. I forgot his name was Strongfork.
I did too. Though. Same.
Yeah. I remembered it like for the podcast, I think early on, but then I just lost that knowledge. So she has to like explain herself to Reese, and Reese sucks now.
Yeah, I don't like that very much. I mean,
yeah,
I guess I get it becoming the head of this company, but even then it just felt like they kind of made him too much of a jerk.
Yeah, like an unrecognizable, both in the way he looks, frankly, and the way he acts.
The mustache is a little much.
Yeah, because he's not like full handsome Jack. He's not murdering anyone who gets in his way a little bit, right? He's not crazed. But he is a warmongerer.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, he doesn't like that her invention does not kill people.
Yeah. She says it could end conflicts without death and violence. And Reese is like, what?
Without death and violence?
That's not my favorite things, though.
Also, money.
Yeah, it really undermines the ending of Old Tales from the Borderlands when Reese is having that conversation with Fiona. Maybe more players chose to make him a warmongerer than we did, but I thought like the whole theme of that was you don't actually have to be corrupted by power in the same way that Handsome Jack was.
Yeah.
But maybe you do.
maybe that's just how business is.
Yeah, maybe capitalism. Maybe I should have known that about capitalism. But I thought that Reese was different in at least the way of like he never used a gun the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he did not like guns. That was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's like he hates that the device that looks like a gun doesn't kill.
Yeah, it does my boy Reese a disservice.
Yeah. just every aspect about, and then he's got this he's got a framed picture of Sasha on his desk, which is nice, but it just, like, him acting this way makes me think, okay, did Sasha like enable this? This whole thing seems so unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't care for it. And it sucks because I was happy to see Reese back. I was like, that's him. I remember from the other game. Yeah, and then he's just pretty unrecognizable as the Reese you knew.
Yeah, his voice actor is different, which we did know about. If we were to see Reese again, his voice actor would be different.
I will say, I think the new voice actor does a not bad job. Like, if I didn't know he had a different voice actor, I probably wouldn't have been able to tell.
I did write down that he sounds a little bit more like Handsome Jack. But I would wager that was a conscious choice and not just him sounding different.
Right.
He sounds pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this whole conversation between Anu and Reese is definitely meant to evoke the conversation between Reese and Vasquez at the beginning of the old game.
I got that too, yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of the only, like, solid thematic ties to the old game. The rest of this is pretty new, hence the name. And I don't buy Reese in this role. I just don't buy it.
I agree.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I think it's kind of similar to thinking about how Kenny went from Walking Dead 1 to Walking Dead 2, where, like, I think what they do with Kenny in Walking Dead 2 is valuable and really cool and interesting, and probably utilizes the character more than Walking Dead 1 did. But also, that wasn't the Kenny I knew from Walking Dead 1 at all.
Right.
So it's interesting here. Yeah, and in the same way, if this was just a new character, I would understand, like, oh, this is the kind of company Atlas is. I get it. But we know Reese. This isn't right. Like, this just, it doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think I buy Kenny in 2 more than I buy Reese here. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just I can see the setting of Walking Dead really changing someone.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like with Kenny, I felt like it was at least a little more justified. Here, it's just, I agree with you. It just undermines what happened in the last game.
Yeah, like with Kenny in Walking Dead 1, if you think about all the times that Kenny's put in a really hard situation in Walking Dead 1, he's the guy that talks a big game, but when worse comes to worse, he relies on Lee because he actually doesn't have the guts to do a lot of the stuff he has to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he runs up to save Duck, he freezes in that first episode. Or when it's time to kill Duck, like he can't do it. So like he was kind of the guy that he has the ideals of a pragmatist, but when it really came down to it, he would freeze up and not be able to do the things he's got to do, which made that the last episode of Walking Dead 1, where he sacrifices himself for someone else, feel like an arc. But then Walking Dead 2 is like, oh no, he gets really angry a lot. He will rise to any occasion in a way you probably wish he would not rise to.
Right.
Yeah,
and I can
like that felt different to me.
Yeah, but I could see how this apocalypse would change someone for the worse like
Mm-hmm.
that. But with Reese, I don't see how his character could become where he ended up.
Yeah, and I think that it's probably... I think we're probably, on some level, meant to feel, like, upset and disoriented that the success of his company and the power that comes with financial wealth has changed him so significantly. But maybe that's... maybe we're seeing one of the themes of Borderlands emerge, which is just, like, being so financially wealthy and so powerful and so in charge of a business that can really change things has a huge effect on whether you are a good person or not, and the effects of power can't be undone by just being a good person. You will be corrupted by the position you're in. Maybe that's the whole Borderlands thing, but I just still have a real hard time believing this on Reese. I don't know why. I don't know why I can't imagine that he was corrupted. And maybe part of it is just like we don't have that full Borderlands 3 story with Reese and how changed he's been. But yeah, just a different guy. He's just a different guy.
Yeah, like if that's what they're going for, fine, I get that, but it just seems so like against what he wanted in the first one. Like the whole point was he didn't want to be like Vasquez or like Handsome Jack. And I do agree with you. Maybe the point is being that rich and powerful just does that to you, but I don't know. Maybe they just shouldn't have done it then.
Because we didn't see Fiona. We don't know what the other characters of Tales from the Borderlands are up to. Maybe they'll show up in a bit, but yeah. So he's upset that the device doesn't kill people.
He's also very upset that she used it to teleport one of his things. What did you choose for her to teleport away?
The dummy.
The dummy? Oh, is that the one that had his suit on it?
Yeah.
Cool. What did he say to that?
My suit.
Aye.
What did you pick?
I picked the plant.
Oh, okay. And what he cares about this?
Yeah, it's a very sentimental plant. I think he said Sasha got it for him, and you just teleported it away, so he's really upset. And then he says, well, maybe it teleported somewhere where it can grow and thrive. And Timmy, his robot assistant, comes and he's like, oh, no, that needs to be in a special soil. It needs to be fed 5 times a day. That plant's going to die immediately. And then Reese is just kind of quietly sad.
Honestly, it's on Reese because he says, show me, and then he doesn't offer anything, so you're just like, okay, well, there's some presumably not as valuable stuff around here. I tried, because I was just so grossed out by Reese, I tried at first clicking Reese even though he didn't have any UI on him. The game does not let you do it. You need to pick one of the pre-designated objects.
Right. Too bad. Bummer.
What do you think about Timmy? His chair robot.
He's no Gortys, I'll tell you that much.
He's no Gortys and he's no Loaderbot.
Yeah, I love Gortys and I love Loaderbot. This
and he's
Timmy
no
guy,
Louie. He's not even Louie.
Louie I liked, but
Louie's from this episode, by the way, listener. Yeah. If you don't know who that is,
Timmy feels like he exists to be the Borderlands humor character.
Yeah, very. I mean, this whole Anu section feels like, oh, this is actually what I thought Borderlands was.
Yeah.
Because we had talked a lot about that during the Tales from the Borderlands episodes of this podcast. We had talked about, we had this preconceived notion of the kind of humor that was in Borderlands, and it did show up occasionally, time to time. But we were very impressed with how that episode, those episodes writing shook out. And I would say I would offer that as well to the Octavio section. Yeah. Or even the Fran section.
Mm-hmm.
I would not offer it to the Anu section. I think the Anu section is exactly what I thought Borderlands was. And, we talked about why we're maybe not as into that.
You know what's so weird about that is the Anu section feels like the spot where it would be least likely to get that. Like, thinking back to, like, I would have expected this more from the Octavio part or even the Fran part. But to get it with the Anu part feels like a really strange choice. Like, they don't feel like characters that would be quipping back and forth to one another.
Yeah,
Or at least it doesn't feel like a section you should be getting that in.
no, yeah, it felt it was I'll say that section, just this whole third of the episode, disappointing in that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, Timmy says that he will go get the object that you send back. So you aim the device at Timmy and send him back, and you have no idea where Timmy is now. And then Reese gets a call from someone from the, what's the corporation? The Tedior company.
Right. I was trying to remember who they were.
And he says, "Oh, okay, Anu, you're excused. By the way, you're fired." So, even though she made a device that should definitely kill someone, I'm just thinking, like, the vastness of space, right? Like, it's all of space time.
Yeah.
The odds of landing on a planet at all have to be incredibly low.
Yeah.
You just got to be in the void. What are the odds you can even see a star? It's probably just the void. If it can be anywhere at any time.
Yeah, well, that's for later episodes to worry about.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to land on a planet. I'm sure it's going to be in a contemporary time on a planet, and it'll be fine.
I have a couple small gameplay complaints about this section too.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
One of them is at the beginning, you have those goggles that let you scan things. It's basically like Reese's Eye, which I thought was neat at first. But one thing I didn't like about this is you have to scan a lot of things in order to even interact with them. Like the toolbox that has the crystal, the power source in it. You can't just open it. You have to scan it first so you know it's in there. Mm-hmm. Then you can open it.
Yeah.
Not a big deal, but I was like, oh, that seems like if it were in the first Tales from the Borderlands, I would just be able to open it. A lot of the eye scanning stuff was mainly just for, like, there was a couple times where it was required, but it was mainly just for fun to get more out of this world.
Yeah. The eye scanning stuff and Fiona picking up money.
Yeah.
Both were like, okay, it's something we can do time to time when they give us full control of the character and let us explore the space. But it's the side thing. It's not what's going to push the episode forward.
Right. And one, like, very, very minor complaint that bugs me more than it probably should is when you're opening the safe in her room, in her lab, there's you have to scan it to get the password. The password's written on a little sticky note, and her password is 1234. And, you know, that's a silly little joke, but
yeah. I mean, it's weird enough to just have anything in a safe in a lab. Like, just, you know, that's already your stuff. Just lock the main door.
But the part I thought was really weird is, so it tells you the password's 1234, but that doesn't play into the gameplay at all. You just have to press the buttons it tells you. You just press.
Yeah,
I had to press X.
Like it's a time. It's a rhythm game thing.
I had to press XB. What does that have to do with the password? It just felt it felt disconnected.
1234 in controller language.
Yeah, it just felt disconnected in a way where I'm like, you couldn't have thought of like a way to feel like the password itself actually mattered.
Yeah, or just like write XB on the note so I can see it in the world. I would believe that in the actual universe of the game, those are numbers, and I just, as the players, see them as buttons. I would believe that that'd be fine.
It would have been so easy, but now it's convoluted and weird. And like I said, it's a very minor thing that has like nothing to do with the narrative, but I feel like this game does not make a very good first impression.
Yeah, and just to finish up, like, Anu's section on Atlas, because I think we're running pretty long.
Right.
Her whole character is just, she's uncorrupted. She's a good person. She's a scientist that wants to end conflicts without violence, and stop experimenting on animals, and just make the world a better place whenever she can.
What a pure of heart character.
Very pure of heart, and she's Octavio's sister, and she's multiple times, even though it's weird that it came up this many times. She's like, yeah, I just hope he's good. At a certain point after she's fired by Reese, the Tedior Corporation storms the Atlas facility. They're being taken over violently. And Fong distracts them so Anu can get away in a car, which is, I think, a reference to the car falling from Helios in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much the entire reference to the first game.
You know what? I think this part, when you're trying to escape Atlas to get away from, you said they're called Tedior?
I believe, Tedior is the one that
is invading.
Is invading and waging war on Atlas, because there was another one called the Malawan Corporation that had just previously to the events of the game waged war on everyone on Promethea, and that's why Promethea's kind of run down in like a post-war state, and everyone's talking about how the war just happened. That was the Malawan Corporation. They're now out of the picture, but Atlas owns everything, but now there's Tedior that's trying to get a slice of it.
Yeah. So this part, when you're trying to escape, it really felt like they were trying to give it some sort of emotional weight, like the part where Fong is getting you to the escape pod. It felt like they were trying to do like a kind of emotional moment with her, leaving her and the rest of them behind, but it's just so undercut by their silly little quips. Fong is awful. Like, it gets rid of any dramatic tension. It just feels like a jokey scene.
Yeah, and like Fong does the ultimate self-sacrifice of distracting these guards so Anu can get to the ship just to make sure her brother's okay, which should in any other situation be a nice, sad thing to see happen. Like, are you kidding, Fong? You do that? But at this point, you just don't like Fong. So
yeah.
You're
plus that's a joke in itself.
That's
a joke in itself. She's just like, she's like, oh yeah, I know where the vault key is. Follow me, boys. And there's no dramatic tension to it at all.
So almost it for Anu, but you got to talk about the Vaultlanders.
Right.
So, okay. So you hear about Vaultlanders because you find out that Fong plays a game that might be like a tabletop game, some sort of strategy game, with figures called Vaultlanders, which is a take on Skylanders.
I didn't even put that together. I feel very stupid.
Yeah, I was thinking for a while, are Vaultlanders a Borderlands term? But then I realized, it's Skylanders. They're
right.
Which is like a already weirdly dated concept. Like they haven't made Skylanders games in a number of years.
Yeah, when was the last time there was a Skylanders game?
Yeah, it was like 5-6 years ago, right?
Yeah, that's a weird choice.
Yeah, and like Amiibo would be a more prescient comparison, or even just something, Vaulty Figs, just something. So she gives you this Vaultlander, which I intuit is going to be the only guaranteed Vaultlander that you collect, while the others all require exploration in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be like under stuff. Like a lot of it reminds me of the Strong Bad exploration collectibles.
Yeah. How do you feel about Vaultlanders?
Can't care. I got 2 of the 3, did not go back to get the 3rd.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like they feel like something I should like. I like Like the figures in Wind Waker I really like. The little figurines of the characters are like trophies in Smash Brothers. Those are cool. These feel very who cares?
Well, I think that makes sense for a game like Wind Waker. That like the whole point of a Zelda game is the joy and art of exploration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in a Telltale game, it's about the narrative and about making choices and about there's little exploratory parts, but I think this is kind of coming up against the fact that video games actually have changed a lot in the last 10 years. A lot. And I think that there's this perception that they haven't, because we haven't seen a lot of technical advancement from like the PS3 era to the PS5 era. We've been in HD the whole time. Now we're in like 4K a lot of the time, but the idea of 3D has been around, the idea of most of the technical things games can do. But in that period, what AAA games are has gone from a measurement of like scale and scope and budget to a genre unto itself. AAA games feel a certain way, and this feels like a AAA game in the modern sense, in the way that Telltale games did not typically. They felt like their own genre of game, and this is still in that genre, but it's now like, okay, so you're in AAA, which means you got to move the camera around. You have to be able to do that, and you have to control a character who's like this toy-like human on the screen and move them around an environment. You have to explore things all the time in a AAA game. You have to have collectibles. You have to have stats. And it does those things in a way that it feels so extra to the Telltale
detrimental.
formula. You know, I'm not so sure I would say detrimental.
I would say one thing about it is detrimental.
What was that?
But well, I'll let you finish. Let you finish your thought first.
Well, no, I mean I can definitely see that being the case, but like my thought is just, I don't know if it even can feel detrimental when it just feels so separate. It just feels like I'm playing a different game all of a sudden. When, for example, you get to the taco place as Octavio, and you have this like intersection that you can walk around and pick up trash, and just for all, just in a moment you're supposed to be eating tacos with friends. You're like, okay, well I have to rummage through trash for some reason. Telltale games, had a number of problems, but they didn't have that kind of game artifice, which I think made them feel very unique in a world of video games trying to either develop upon or get rid of that game artifice. It kind of got there, and that's why The Walking Dead Season 1 made the splash it did. It really felt like some prestigious, high quality narrative storytelling in a time period where that wasn't so common from video games. And now we're like kind of back to, okay, you'll have the story, but you got to collect these Vaultlanders, and they're one's in my armpit. Isn't that funny? One's just around. I don't know.
Pretty good stuff.
Everyone loves it. I actually didn't understand that I should be looking for Vaultlanders until I found one as Fran, and then I realized, I probably missed the one as Octavio.
Yeah, I don't recall it saying I should keep an eye out for a Vaultlander with Octavio, but it did for Fran. So I probably just missed it as Octavio. But it never even occurred to me to look around for it. And then with Fran, it's like, find... Like, it's telling you what you need to do. Mm-hmm. The part when you have to show the damage to her restaurant for the insurance claim. But it also said, find Vaultlander. So then I knew, okay, I guess I'll look around for it.
Yeah. It's a strange addition. If you go to your Vaultlanders collection later on, you can see that there are stats each one has. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I I don't know if I yet believe we're actually going to use these things in a game. We haven't had the opportunity to yet.
I thought they were like for some sort of like multiplayer side mode or something I didn't notice, but no, nothing like that.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything multiplayer. Maybe later on you'll find like a table where there's this old board gamester just playing some Vaultlanders, and you'd think, oh, I got some Vaultlanders, which is why they give you the one of Fwang guarantee.
So you have one, yeah.
Just so you have one, yeah.
I guess I could see that. I'm with you. I'm not convinced that it will be a thing, but maybe.
Yeah, so I have 2. I hope that's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna cut us off from some extra special bonus in the 5th episode, the same way that the amount of money you have determines if you can get Claptrap or not.
Right. Money's another weird thing in this, since so in the first Tales from the Borderlands, it was just Fiona that handled the money.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but here your money carries out throughout all 3 characters, which is like I get how that like makes it smoother in terms of like if you'll need it in the game. Like, okay, so this is all of the money I've found, but it's strange from a narrative point of view that all of your money is shared across all 3 of these characters who have not yet met.
Yeah, and by the way, there's not much to spend your money on, at least in this first episode. There is another quick change station where you can buy skins for your characters based on having that money.
Yeah, I didn't buy any. This, like...
I didn't buy anything either. I felt like it was a trick.
Trick. I didn't feel like it was a trick, but I just didn't like any of them as much. Like, when you had that opportunity in the first Tales from the Borderlands, I kind of liked those outfits. I was like, ooh, wish I could afford that one, but I can't.
Well, I think because we're coming so soon after seeing the Claptrap thing, I really do think it's a trick. Like, I feel like if I spend the money on skins to make any of my characters look different,
I might not be able to get Claptrap.
I'm not going to have some access to like a Claptrap later on. That'll be devastating.
Yeah, what if Fiona is there and you can't pay for her?
Yeah. Maybe Fiona wants to rob you, but will be sad if you don't have enough money for her to rob.
Yeah, I want to have enough money for her to rob. But one thing I don't like, you brought up being able to move the camera in this.
Yeah.
And at first I thought that was cool, just being able to look around, see whatever you want. But I feel like there was a lot of times where... Maybe it's not being able to move the camera's fault, but I felt like there was a lot of times where I just could not face what I wanted to interact with. Like,
interesting.
It made it more complicated to... In Tales from the Borderlands, I never had that problem. I could just point to what I wanted to interact with and do it. But here it felt like I was struggling a lot of the time. Like, if something was lower, if something was closer to the ground... You can't just get up close to it and interact with it. You gotta move the camera down to it and find the exact right spot so you can press a button.
There's also a lot of sections where like there's a pile of trash on the ground, and if you interact with it, you'll find that there are stacks of money under it.
Yeah.
Which is funny. But also, almost everything in this game has UI that'll tell you when you can interact with something. But like those stacks of money don't.
Yeah.
So it does feel more secret that way, but it feels strangely inconsistent as well. And if that's why I missed the Vaultlander, I'm gonna feel like, okay, well, that's just unfair.
I did my best here.
Yeah, I brought my A game to looking around at things, and interesting.
I brought my A game to an unfair situation.
Yeah, I brought my A game, and you're like, C game, and I'm like, no, A game, but I guess C game.
You gotta meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, so Anu lands on the planet. Let's just finish her whole story and then do the other stories.
Okay.
She lands on Promethea. She, by the way, the musical section is her like dive bombing in this car onto the planet, and the song is Die Right Now by Knower. I've been listening to so much Knower recently. that it blew my mind to just hear that song all of a sudden.
You had to do a double take and make sure you were actually playing the game or listening to music.
Yeah, I did a Tim Allen.
I don't know the song, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like my favorite Nowhere song even, but I thought that it fit the moment perfectly. Nowhere's so good. Nowhere's Lewis Cole and Genevieve Artadi doing some real good jazzy electro ballad stuff. Yeah, great stuff.
I might need to go back and listen to it again. But
I would instead recommend just looking up other Nowhere songs.
Okay. But on this subject of the music, do you mind if we go back in time a little bit to when we were playing the last episode of Tales from the Borderlands?
Sure.
Because I didn't mention this in that episode, but I wanted to bring up the song in the end credits, My Silver Lining by First Aid Kit.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good. I've been listening to that a lot.
Were you introduced from the game, or?
Yeah, I had never heard of them or that song before, but that song is awesome. I loved it. That's the first song in Tales from the Borderlands where I was like, when I heard it, I was like, I have to get this song now.
Yeah, if there's anything that Gearbox is doing on par, or if not better than the first game, they definitely carried over their very good sense of licensed music, and I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that that's going on still.
Yeah,
it's probably one of the iconic tonal aspects of Tales from the Borderlands to me now. Just having these great songs.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I can't think of too many other Telltale things that have done that. There's been a few Walking Dead
had
some
songs
in their credits. In their, like, at the very end though, not like during the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she crash lands, and the way her car lands kills a bunch of psychos. The Borderlands character class psychos. I'm not just laying judgment on these people who have struck hard times and potentially radioactive genetics.
Right. It's not their fault, maybe.
Yeah, they were all going to kill this one other psycho, but the car crash kills all of them except for that one remaining one. Mm-hmm. And Anu's knocked unconscious, and when she comes to, the remaining psycho, she's leaning over Anu in a very crazed way. But she's happy and now like worships Anu for saving her life.
She thinks they're best friends.
Yeah, so her name is Stapleface because of the staples in her face, I reckon.
Probably.
Yeah, could be unrelated.
How do you feel about Stapleface, Mitchell?
I mean, I don't care for her.
I get it. I thought she was fun.
Yeah, she's fun. She keeps the levity high, but I think this section of the episode, even though they're on the planet now, it kind of has the same writing
definitely
difficulties that I felt earlier on the Atlas ship.
Definitely. I just kind of liked her whole thing. I thought Stapleface was a very positive character, but I can see how she would be way too much for people.
Yeah, and it took Stapleface for me to realize this, and this made me just keep an eye out for the rest of the episode. This might be a bit of a gross thing to realize, but I do think that it speaks to the Borderlands aesthetic a little bit. And tell me if you think I'm going too far by even bringing it up, Dustin.
Okay.
Every female character in this game has the biggest butt.
I didn't notice.
Okay.
which is funny because that seems more in character for me to say than you.
Well, yeah. So the first time that like really that it really popped into recognition for me was with a moment between Fran and the insurance adjuster, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
And the insurance adjuster, I mean, more so than any other character, just is comically proportioned.
Yeah, that's the point of her, at least.
Yeah, she was drawn by like a first year deviant art student.
Hey, we were all there at one point in our lives.
You know, not me, but that's cool. I'm not dissing it as a choice, but I am saying
it's noticeable.
Every one of them. Because there's a lot. There's a lot of this game in this world in general, both from the Telltale side and the Gearbox side, that have been impressive to me in terms of showing progressive kinds of characters and characters who are maybe physically disabled or part of the LGBTQ community or of different minority races. And in that way, the diversity is really good, except all of the women are still drawn with the biggest butts. And you know what? That's just how Prometheus do, I guess. But
yeah,
it
that's
is
just
something.
how it be.
I think Anu might be like the one exception, but even then, I think if you put that character next to a real life human, you'd realize, oh, that butt's pretty big. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I feel uncomfortable bringing it up, but it was noticeable to me.
No, it's fine. It's fine. If it's something you notice, you gotta bring it up.
Yeah, because on the one hand, it feels like they're trying to be very diverse and promote acceptance of different body types, which is awesome. But on the other hand, this one aspect of this one gender is still almost always shown with the male gaze might be an antiquated phrase for this because, of course, you know, they would be the lesbian gaze as well. But that is what's happening here. So
right,
yeah, feels weird, feels strange. I will say taken as individuals, almost each one of these character designs I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I never had a problem with how this game looked, other than the strange animations at the beginning, which might have just been a me thing. But I thought this game looked pretty good overall. Mm-hmm. It's interesting having this style of gameplay with a game that's not just the regular Telltale games look.
Yeah, definitely. And like the original Tales from the Borderlands was made to look like Borderlands 2, and I guess this one's made to look like Borderlands 3. Mm-hmm. But even still, like Borderlands 2 had a lot of that very visible black outlines that were shared between Walking Dead, especially later Walking Dead, and Wolf Among Us and things of that nature. So
yeah,
it's interesting to see this new, very modern, very AAA look on a Telltale story.
Yeah, in Tales from the Borderlands, you still got that Telltale flavor to it, even if they were going for the Borderlands style. Here, you don't get that at all. It's very interesting.
So Anu's trying to fight these other psychos that show up, and Stapleface helps out. And during the process, at least for me, I think this is a choice you can do. You don't have to. Anu sends some of these psychos to like the dark dimension or whatever. And also uses the butt of the device to press it into some guy's face. And then she freaks out. She's like, oh, I just killed someone. Oh no.
Oh jeez.
Which, yeah, that good reaction, fair reaction.
Yeah.
But Stapleface just loves Anu for this even more. She's completely smitten with Anu.
Yeah.
Just head over heels.
I think that Stapleface, I think, is fun, even if I do agree she feels like that sort of like the humor of the character again feels very more in line with Borderlands what I expect from Borderlands. But I guess just the context for the character makes me enjoy her a lot more than, say, Fwang.
Yeah, Stapleface tells Anu that she had earlier decided to be not psycho.
Right.
And the other Anu says, "Can you just decide that?" And she says, "Not without a death day." So they have to kill you for it, which is what was happening when Anu crashed the car. But now she's having a reborn day, so now Stapleface is not going to be psycho anymore.
She can be whatever she wants.
Yeah, I mean, she hasn't acted on that yet. She's still acting and talking and being a lot like a psycho character class character.
Yeah, well,
so we'll
old habits are hard to break.
True. Yeah, she can't just be drinking tea all of a sudden. She doesn't have tea.
Yeah, she has to go to the store and get the tea first.
Yeah, so it's at this time that Anu's freaking out that she just killed a person that the Tediore invasion starts. So she starts heading for the frozen yogurt shop where she thinks Octavio's going to be. And that's like the end of the episode for her.
Mm-hmm.
So Octavio. We've already talked a lot about this, so we don't need to go into detail as much. But, yeah, he's got this friend Louis, or LOU13, a robot, a kill bot, an assassination bot.
Likes killing people.
He likes killing people. And between
his whole thing is he doesn't like killing people. It's just what his programming is.
I don't know if I got the sense that he doesn't like it, but he does find other aspects of violence to be barbaric. But he thinks what he does is probably fine.
Well, Octavio straight up says he doesn't like it, but maybe he was just making an excuse, like later when he's at Fran's.
Oh, sorry, no, Octavio doesn't like it. I was saying Louis is fine with it.
No, Octavio says that Louis doesn't like it.
Oh, okay. I might have missed that. I mean, he doesn't seem conflicted when it happens.
Well, it's part of his programming.
Yeah.
They have that conversation at the beginning. Octavia's like, "Don't you want more out of life than killing?" And Louis says, "Well, yeah, but no, this is what I do. This is literally all I know."
So Louis got a very interesting sort of game mechanics paradigm to when he kills people, which is someone has to say their own name. Then Louis can run that name against the database of bounties, and if there's a bounty on them, they can kill them.
Yeah, and it's not so much that he can kill him, but I guess he has to. Because he said...
Yeah.
He tells Octavio that he doesn't look him up because he doesn't want to kill his friend.
Yeah, and I imagine this will... my prediction for how the story of the season is going to go, I bet Louis is going to turn into the bad guy pretty fast.
Oh, I hope not. I like Louis, but yeah, maybe.
Well, an antagonistic character.
Right.
Where Octavio's going to get a bounty on him. And then he just has to chase him. He just has to chase Octavio.
I could see that too. Like, he doesn't want to kill his friend Octavio, but he has to. It's what he was born to do.
Yeah, so his friends call him up. A girl with the most spandexed clothes is like, "Hey, we're heading to tacos, right?" Everyone dresses this way, I promise.
We tacoing?
We tacoing? So Louis says to Octavio, "Hey, before we go in there, you should just go around and check on your little phone. All your friends, do they have bounties? Just check, because I don't want to kill your friends."
Check on your little phone.
On your little Game Boy. Check if your friends have bounties, because otherwise I might kill them. And what's the girl's name?
Diamond Danielle.
Diamond Danielle. Louis comments, "Oh, smart. Don't say a real name, because I get it." And it turns out none of your friends do have bounties, which is unlikely.
Yeah, that seems like it shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, considering who these people are, there's like a bombs guy, there's a most of them are thieves. Octavio himself steals a lot, but I guess they're all bounty free. Maybe it's just not that easy to get a bounty on your head. I would have assumed in this universe everyone has a bounty, but
maybe in this world stuff like this is like petty stuff. Maybe none of this matters in the grand scheme of things because there's way more dangerous shit out there.
So you're just eating some hot dogs and all of or sorry, not hot dogs, tacos. I'm thinking forward a little bit to a different moment.
Okay, I know exactly what we're going to be talking about then.
Yeah. When the Tediore invasion happens, you hear it on the radio, and then all of a sudden, like, this ship just crashes very nearby, and some people come out that work for Tediore who look like Star Wars Empire kind of look. Just very, like, we are the people who are going to bring order, and if you don't join the order, I suppose you're an enemy to peace. Just like that. I guess
you're going to have to die.
Very, very arch. So they shoot up the whole city immediately, and they're like, why are people mad? why are people fighting back? We're just shooting.
Why are you booing? I'm right.
That sort of breaks up the friend group, and it has Octavio and Louis try to get away. At one point, they're put into gunpoint by this Tediore guy who's definitely going to kill you. And so how did you deal with this situation?
Oh, I forget.
This is the guy that stands over you with the gun in the trench.
In the pit, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. He asked me any last words, and I had Octavio say, I wish I had eaten more tacos. And then the soldier says, oh yeah, so do I.
Well, I asked the soldier, who are you? Because I was going to get the name so Louis could kill him.
Right.
Yeah, and the soldier just says, oh, my name? I'm Hubert Hotdog.
Yeah, So I forget how it came up for me. I think one of the other soldiers like said his name. But I still got Hubert Hotdog.
Oh yeah, my name's Hubert Hotdog. And then immediately a bullet through his head from Louis. Just like no hesitation whatsoever.
What so the name Hubert Hotdog.
Yeah.
So our friend Jeff.
Uh-huh.
Every now and then he'll one of his little bits he does is he'll come up with names for new Skylanders.
Yeah.
And they're just like ridiculous bullshit, and Hubert Hotdog struck me as one of those.
Yeah, I as unenthused by the Vaultlanders component of this game as I am, I do hope that one of the Vaultlanders you can get is Hubert Hotdog.
It would be the crown jewel of my collection.
Such a good name.
Yeah, for a game that I would say is mostly pretty unfunny, I laughed pretty hard at Hubert Hotdog.
And the way he says it too is it's such a good delivery, because for me, Octavio's like, okay, fine, but can you at least let me know who you are? I deserve to know the name of the guy who kills me. And the guy is like, oh, me? I'm Hubert Hotdog.
Wait, no, he said that for me too.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's just something he asks and says no matter what you pick. Because I chose the taco option, but then because I remember him saying I should know the man of the guy who's gonna kill me.
Yeah, this game does continue Tales from the Borderlands tradition of having really good goons.
Yeah,
just really well written goons. Some of the great writing in this episode is people like Hubert Hotdog and other Tediore people.
Yeah.
I wish I picked the taco option now. Just that sounds good.
Yeah, he just says, "Oh yeah, I wish I ate more tacos too."
Yeah, he's not gonna die. He can. Although it turns out the opposite happens and he dies.
Right.
So I bet he did wish to eat more tacos.
There's also the talking gun, Brock.
Oh yeah.
Not a big fan of this guy, huh?
No.
See, I was thinking it was going to be a thing like, oh, this is going to be our new partner. We're going to have some back and forths between Octavio and Brock the Talking Gun. But no, he's out of there pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he comes back immediately in the next episode.
Yeah. Yeah, not my favorite.
Yeah, so Brock works for Tedior and is a gun. So if you... There's kind of a clever mechanical thing where if you aim Brock at a Tedior guy, they'll say, oh, you want to shoot that? I'll shoot this other thing. And then just makes you miss.
Right.
But if you aim for something else, like if you aim for the mailbox, Brock says, oh, you want to shoot this mailbox, do you? Well, take this. And then he just goes and shoots a Tedior guy instead because he thinks you want to shoot the mailbox.
Right. I like that.
Yeah, it was a fun mechanical thing. I don't want him to talk that much.
I didn't think he was the worst, but yeah. As soon as he starts talking, you just know like immediately what this character is and what their jokes are going to be.
So that's Octavio. What do you think of Octavio's character?
I like him enough. I feel like it kind of does a disservice having so many playable characters because I feel like I don't really get enough time for them to grow on me. But I like Octavio enough.
I think the back and forth between Octavio and Louis is very strong.
Yeah, totally. I like their friendship.
Yeah, I don't know if either character on their own would be like that strong, but them together really works for me.
I'm also curious, like, how do these two people become friends? They seem like such an unlikely duo.
Yeah, I feel like there might have been some reference to like Octavio's trying to steal something nearby, and I don't know exactly how it happened, but by the way, you have the option to say whether or not Octavio has given up his thieving ways. And based on his wanting to be recognized by Forge's 30 under 30 or whatever, this universe's version of that, I feel like he has. So I said he has.
That's interesting. Oh man, now I don't remember what I picked, but I think I remember saying he still does. Because I kind of like the idea of him having these, like, dreams of being more famous, but still having to resort to this right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's as fair as any other interpretation.
I think that kind of says a lot, that either or feels like they work for his character. So
they're Louis and Octavio are running through the street, and they eventually meet up with Fran. So let's go back in time. Because these are told like one little chapter at a time, person to person, non-chronologically. Yeah. Let's go to Fran.
Let's go to Fran at Fran's Frogurt.
Fran is my personal favorite character of the three of them.
Yeah, I feel like her story feels more grounded, I guess. Like it feels a little more...
Yeah.
I don't want to say relatable, but it's something you can kind of get behind a little more than the other two.
Yeah, because like in the beginning of the episode, you have the narrator guy, who Adam told us his name.
I could not remember if you paid me.
But the narrator guy says, okay, so you think you know everything about the lore of Borderlands. And he's kind of referencing that, yeah, you know about Reese and Fiona, but those are like big boys. Well, not boys. Boy in the way that boy means thing.
Yeah.
Those are big deals in this universe. Like Reese was a Hyperion employee who became the head of Atlas. Fiona's this like world-class con artist
that became.
Do you know about the people who don't matter?
Yeah, here are the little people of the world.
Very, very interesting pitch for a story. Okay, do you know about the people who don't matter?
Let's check in on them.
It's like, I guess I don't. and Fran is the one that fits that description the most, I reckon.
Yeah. Like, I feel like Octavio's motivation, what he wants, is good. I think it's very relatable wanting to be bigger than you are to really make an impression. Sure. But Fran is a character she feels like a real underdog in this world. She's put in a real bad spot.
Yeah, so Fran uses like a hover wheelchair, and credit to the design of the episode, never comes up. Well, it comes up like one time in a dialogue that kind of doesn't matter, but you don't get the sense that she was wounded from some backstory of the lore of like a war, or that she can't do anything because of this, or that she specifically can do a lot of stuff because of this. She is just a character in a wheelchair. Not a wheelchair, hover chair.
Right. It's just what is happening with this character.
Yeah, this is not her character. Her character is the fact that she's got this little alarm clock thing that she has to keep on her person at all times. That monitors whenever she gets really angry, because she has like an anger management issue.
Yeah, sponsor bot.
Yeah, and sponsor bot keeps telling her like, it's been 90 days since your last outburst, which would make me very angry very fast.
Yeah, so you can choose to have Fran play it cool, or you can make her lose said cool.
So her whole deal is just running a frozen yogurt shop, which is great. Her shop was destroyed during the last war, and like there's a giant hole in the wall, rubble everywhere. The machines are broken a lot of the time. The ground's all scuffed up. There was a giant laser that was pointed at the store, and her whole arc in this episode is that she's trying to get an insurance claim, which is hilarious, because if you're looking at this like, yeah, the insurance should pay for this. It's half of the wall is gone.
Right, but in a world like Borderlands, where maybe this happens more often than not, this is not a surefire thing to get this.
Yeah. And also, in the meantime of her waiting for the insurance adjuster to come by and look at things, she's just got like the weirdest set of customers.
Yeah, there's the one at the beginning who's like super into it. Like, this frozen yogurt is her life.
Yeah.
I liked that scene.
I loved her. She was so good.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, she's like, can I get the peanut butter whatever? And Fran's like, yeah, sure. And every step along the way of you pouring the yogurt into the cup, putting some toppings on it, you see her at the customer at the register, and they're just like, they can't even contain themselves.
I can't wait for this.
Yeah, that's a contender for Weekly Guy for me. I'll just say ahead of time. Just great character. You see for no seconds.
This whole I never once thought about like how a frozen yogurt place in this world could bring someone so much joy.
Yeah, and it's not like this is the one aspect of the Borderlands world that is not different at all from the real world.
Right.
Like there's no this isn't a Borderlands frozen yogurt restaurant. It's just a frozen yogurt restaurant.
Yeah, that's been placed into this world. I think that really helps Fran's character and this whole part of the story, just having it be so grounded. It's a different angle that we haven't seen, at least we haven't seen in this world yet.
Yeah. And then there's a ruffian who comes in, like a goth ruffian. Named Hank.
He's addicted to this yogurt and he wants it for free.
Yeah. He says, you need to pay up for my protection. And Fran brings up the fact that there's a giant hole in the wall and he did not protect. So the deal should be off. But he's intent on getting that protection. Money. But it's not... It's revealed it's not money he wants. He just wants some yogurt.
He wants a lifetime supply of all the yogurt he wants.
Which is a lot, because he's got a sweet tooth.
Yeah, he says, I need a 24/7 sugar high.
But so mean. He's just such a mean person.
Yeah. He's the biggest asshole in the world, and all he wants is yogurt.
Yeah, and he insults Fran a lot, but again, credit to the episode. All the insulting is like, "You're old."
Yeah.
Yeah, a lesser composed writer might immediately jump to the disability, and they don't do that. So,
right.
Kudos to you. But also, like, she doesn't look that old.
No, she looks like maybe 40s.
Yeah, it could be like early 50s, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe. But she's not 60.
Yeah, she's not a grandma.
Yeah, in a world that is this rugged, owning your own frozen yogurt restaurant, it's not like you're not the president of anything, but no one is. You're good.
Yeah.
It's your own you own it. It's a business. That's fine. You can be old. That's fair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, be old. I'm not.
You've
looking.
earned it.
So you can choose how to fight Hank, not Frank. And
you're combining Fran and Hank.
What do you do with Hank?
I froze him, but I did not shatter the boy.
Okay, I did the same thing. So you can your hover chair's got a bunch of gadgets on it. One of them just freezes people. All right.
Yeah, that seems like the big one because she also uses it on the yogurt.
Yeah, she freezes the yogurt to make it like colder, of course, but also like harder and crunchier, and it glistens more in the light. Mm-hmm. Makes it look like diamonds. That's cool.
What you need.
Yeah. So yeah, you have the option to shatter Hank into a brillion pieces. A brillion
pieces.
Or just leave him frozen in your back room. So I was thinking of what I know of Fran. She's trying to not be angry all the time, but she was provoked here. She's going to almost kill him, but the I feel like the freezing of this gentleman is certainly enough to get that anger out of her system. I'm not gonna make her just needlessly a murderer.
Right, exactly. It feels like she's kind of on the edge. It feels like I would be within my rights to kill this guy. I think I probably should, but I'm not going to. I'm going to exercise restraint.
So then later, the insurance adjuster from Tedior comes down. Reba Fulfolia.
What a name. And she's a real piece of work.
Yeah, holy crap, this character.
like at least the point is she's supposed to be like the absolute worst. Yeah,
okay. So this character design I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. I don't even have a comparison. I don't know. You gotta just Google this person and maybe turn safe search on.
She's very over the top.
Yeah, she's she's wearing this extremely tight spandex suit, and has the proportions of like we've talked about it already. Just ridiculous. Just the most absolutely ridiculous character design I've ever seen.
Her hair goes up like a foot into the air.
Yeah, she's got like sort of a beehive kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she like sort of you have the option to go around the store and you control the character here and just like point at things in the store and show them to Reba.
Yeah.
And explain like, okay, here's some damage from the thing. And every time that Reba walks around, she does like little squeaks because all of her spandex just sort of it's so funny. Ridiculous character. Most ridiculous character for sure. MRC. She wins the MRC.
I'll say that's most ridiculous character, but in a way that works. It doesn't feel like it's too ridiculous for this.
For Borderlands, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, sure, But also, we just played 5 episodes of Borderlands. Nothing like this has happened.
Right.
Yeah, so you can, depending on what you do, not get your insurance claim, but I got it.
I also got it. I was surprised to see that you can just, like, when it said you got it, I just assumed that was like a major part of the story that had to happen. But no, I don't know what would happen to make it so you don't get it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the screenshots I took of the choices at the end of the episode. It says you and 55% of players were granted your insurance claim. Now, I've long since not paid attention to these percentage numbers. I hate them. For reasons that we've gone into, they seem very inconsistent and mostly untrue. But considering that this is a new company and it's a modern game and it was released very recently on only a couple consoles, I'm willing to believe maybe it's better now.
Okay. I'm glad to see you somewhat turn around on it this time.
Well, I mean, the next time we go back to a Telltale developed game and see these, I won't think it. I won't believe it because we've seen how wrong they are. Like,
right.
We can't know. We can't even know which direction they're wrong in. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is close to half. So, just under half did not get the insurance money.
Yeah, that's wild. I bet if you kill Hank, you don't get it.
Well, yeah, because the reason I got the insurance money, it seems, was I showed Reba all the right stuff, the damages, and it seems pretty incontrovertible. Yeah, those are damages. The insurance should pay for it. But also, she goes into the back room, sees frozen Hank, and she's like, "Whoa, look at you!" Because I guess Reba knew Fran in high school. That's their dynamic.
Yeah,
and Reba was always like a popular mean girl plastic type, and then Fran was the dorkier kid, I guess.
Yeah, just the not as popular one.
Not as popular, yeah. And Reba says, "If you're gonna freeze any more creeps, let me know. I want to watch next time." Yeah. So depending on what you do to Hank, maybe that changes it. Maybe you can lose the fight to Hank entirely and he leaves.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm guessing if there's nothing there to impress her, then you don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I bet you could miss showing her damages as well.
Yeah, totally. You can choose when you're done showing her. In my choices, it said I gave her the full tour. I showed her everything.
Yeah, me too. And I guess that just means you clicked on everything, even the things that aren't damages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She makes sure to let you know whether or not something is relevant.
Yeah, I showed Reba like a poster, and she's like, "So is this damaged?" And you go, "No, I just like it." And then Reba goes, "Oh, I love being shown things that weren't damaged." Yeah. So then after the insurance claim happens, and Hank is still in the back room, frozen solid. Octavio and Louis show up at the frozen yogurt place, and Fran is upset that Octavio brought a killbot to the place, but it seems fine.
Yeah, he doesn't kill anyone there yet.
Yeah, so I was talking with your roommate Adam, who had also played the first episode of this game.
I've heard of that guy.
And Adam was saying that he got the impression that I did not get, but I wanted to see what your impression was, that Fran has a major crush on Octavio.
I didn't really get that. I mean, she called him handsome, but I don't think it's like that sort of deal.
So there's a...
She seemed pretty upset with him about the killbot, so I didn't really get those vibes.
Yeah, so there was a poster on the door of like the employee of the month or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if you talk to Reba about it, Fran goes, "Yeah, he's really hot, right?" I did not think that was Octavio. For some reason, that didn't look like Octavio to me. But Adam insists that was Octavio, and I misread the situation.
Yeah, it's Octavio. Because
Well, in that case, I do think that Fran has a crush on him then.
Yep, Fran and Octavio already know each other because Octavio works there.
Yeah, but I thought that was a different person that like maybe used to work there on the poster because it didn't look like Octavio, and I thought the name was different.
Oh no,
But
I thought it was Octavio.
okay, yeah, I misread then. That's on me.
That's okay. It happens to the best of us.
You're right, Adam. Fran has a crush on Octavio, and that's their
Wow.
dynamic.
That's their whole thing.
Yeah, and he seems like he's 16 years old, so that's weird.
Oh, I kind of got the impression he was early 20s.
And that's not that different. I guess it's kind of different.
Yeah, I mean, that makes you an adult.
Yeah, yeah. It's legal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's still weird. So then some Tediore guys show up at the frozen yogurt place, and they have some great dialogue as well.
Yeah, I didn't write any of it down, but I remembered it being good.
Yeah, the the first thing they say is just to get on your knees, and then for whatever reason, like all three people at the store like can't. That doesn't apply to them. So
yeah,
they say,
because Fran's in her chair and Louis is already on his knees.
yeah, Fran's in her chair, and they say, "Get on your knees," and she's like, "No."
No.
And then they say it to Louis, who's on his knees because he's like fixing. He's working on the yogurt machine, and Louis
says,
goes, "Yes."
Yeah, you know what? This episode does have some good jokes.
Yo, yeah, it's got great jokes for sure. I would never say it doesn't. I think that it's very inconsistent from section to section, and I hope that the later episodes. Well, I guess there's no reason for them to. I was gonna say I hope the later episodes get better and better at that, but because they were all released at once, they don't have that advantage. They no longer have the advantage that some Telltale games have, where they if they don't have their footing at first, they find it later.
Yeah. But oh well, maybe they still will.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I would like to believe that's the case, but I bet all of these episodes were worked on at the same time.
Yeah.
So, the Tediore goons try to shoot up the place, but their guns don't work, and they realize that the guns are programmed to only shoot things that the Tediore Corporation wants dead, and because the Tediore Corporation owes Fran a lot of money for the insurance claim, they can't shoot her. So that's an interesting wrinkle.
Oh no, I don't think that's why they couldn't shoot her. They couldn't shoot her because her frozen yogurt machine is Tediore property, and she's still paying for that.
Well, yeah. Well, it's all part of it because like there's a transaction going on here. The Tediore insured them, and there's a claim going on, and the machines are being paid for to Tediore. So like
it's this whole situation.
It would be financially, although probably just a drop in the bucket for Tediore, financially bad for Fran to die.
Right, but they want that drop.
Yeah, they want that business. They want to keep in business because that's all that matters. Just the bottom line.
Yeah.
If that drops even a penny, someone's dying for it. That's Borderlands. That's what Borderlands
basically
is. I guess Borderlands has to be that in order for what Reese went through to make sense.
Yeah, I still don't like it.
Yeah, so someone named Coldwell, who I guess is the president of Tediore, shows up in a hologram because she's like, "Why aren't these people dying?" And the goons explain that the guns can't work. And then Coldwell sees Fran, and does Coldwell know Fran? It seems similar to like the Reba situation, where like, oh, maybe they have some history, but I don't know.
I don't think I got the impression that they had history, but she just sees her and says, "Oh, you're one of these types of people." One of the low lives. One of
Yeah,
the poors.
one of the frozen yogurt types.
One of the unimportants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Coldwell goes on this tangent about frozen yogurt and how it's like, it's just like ice cream, but in a way, objectively worse. It's less tasty, and the texture's just a little worse than ice cream, but, you know, sometimes people just have taste. But I think we can agree, some things, like people, are objectively worse than others. And that's kind of like that's Fran's whole theme. Fran's section of the story. The world's just telling her she's just worse than other people.
Mm-hmm.
And
harsh.
Harsh. And from that, they realize they can still drop the grenades and blow up the store, and that's the end of the episode. I do want to say, Coldwell's little monologue about frozen yogurt being objectively worse than ice cream, I agree with it. That's true.
Finally, a character I can get behind.
Well, but B, maybe this is a heavy accusation, so I'm nervous about saying this.
Walk on eggshells, Mitchell.
I think it was lifted from The Good Place.
Really?
Yeah, because in The Good Place, there's an afterlife where have you seen any of The Good Place?
I have not.
I strongly recommend it. I think you'd like it. It takes place in the afterlife, The Good Place, and there's this frozen yogurt store, and the angel who's sort of in charge of this afterlife, named Michael, says, frozen yogurt, I love it. It's such a uniquely human thing to do. Take something that you love and make it just a little bit worse so you feel less guilty. And it's a different take on it that Coldwell has, but it feels, I think that idea is pretty strongly borrowed from The Good Place.
Ooh, someone's got some explaining to do.
Someone's got some splaining. And then the episode ends with the frozen yogurt shop exploding.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Louis and Octavio and Fran are inside, and Anu just got there. She's right outside and then sees it exploding. That's the episode.
Yeah, you know what? I will say, even though it's not like a super strong episode, talking about it all again here with you does make me remember the stuff I did enjoy about it more. When I first finished it and I was talking with Adam the other day, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't think it was very good. But I'm remembering the stuff I did like about it. And yes, there are some very bad things about it that I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't think I hated this episode.
No, I mean, I definitely have a worse time playing through CSI.
Yeah.
Than something like this. But it actually reminded me a lot of CSI, I know this formula, but it feels different for some reason. Like CSI is it is the Sam and Max era Telltale formula, but used in a way that doesn't feel like the purpose of it is for the same purpose as other Telltale games. And this kind of feels like the Walking Dead formula, but again, the purpose of how it's being used and the sensibilities with which it's being used feel very different. Yeah. Especially I think a lot of Telltale episodes felt somewhat contained in their scope. And in this one, just as a comparison, most Telltale episodes give you 6 major choices at the end. This one gives you 6 major choices per character.
Right, yeah. How do you feel about that?
It's too many. I mean,
too many choices.
It's good that all these micro decisions seem to matter, but I'm looking through. Okay, so I'm just looking at Fran's. Mm-hmm. You and 92% of players kept the sponsor bot whole. So we didn't kill sponsor bot.
Right.
21% of players attacked Hank first. 64% of players let Hank chill, literally. 32% of players gave Reba a complete tour, 55% of players were granted our insurance claim, and 92% of players let Reba go. And there's so many things in there that make me wonder, wait, I didn't have to let her go? I could have like killed Reba? That doesn't even that doesn't even ring true as a possibility in my head.
Yeah, maybe if she sees you kill Hank, maybe you have the choice to freeze her and keep her in there too.
Yeah, maybe. And in addition to the choices, there's also which Vaultlanders did you get, and at the there's like team dynamic scores, so you can have a score for Octavio and Fran's relationship that's called Frogurt and Tacos.
Right.
One for Anu and Octavio's relationship, which is called Sis and Bro, and one for Anu and Fran's relationship. And currently, I have 0% for Anu and Fran. They did not meet. Which I don't think there's a version of this episode in which they do. It's just these numbers are going to grow or shrink episode to episode.
Yeah.
I've got 33% for Sis and Bro and 50% for Frogurt and Tacos.
Oh, that's exactly what I have too for both.
Oh, so there's also one that says under construction skateboard score.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what that means.
Are we going to be skating?
I don't know. I feel like that could be very fun or very bad.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very soft spot for skating in video games, but this game does not strike me as something that has skating in it. So that's interesting.
Yeah. I do think it's neat that each character has their own choices, but I don't think you need like 6 for each of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think part of it is probably just the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were at least 18 choices per Walking Dead episodes that like kind of mattered a little bit.
But then they just pick the big ones.
Yeah, they just showed you the big ones or the thematically relevant ones.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, just being shown this many, especially things that's like, oh, you didn't do this. And then you realize, okay, I don't even know what that is. The possibility space seems way bigger than a Telltale episode.
Yeah. It's interesting how some of these choices, some of them don't even feel like choices. Like if you go to Octavio, one of his, for me, is you and 5% of players are obsessed with tacos.
Okay, what's mine say for that? Wait, we don't have the same ones.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, what? No. Okay, so
we played on the same.
We do.
Okay.
Me and 37% of players have a complicated relationship with tacos. I was looking for the word obsessed. I should have been looking for the word tacos.
Yeah. Well, me and 5% are obsessed with them.
That's low.
Yeah, you'd think more people would be into tacos.
Yeah, only 1 in 20 are obsessed with tacos. Seems low.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, unrealistic. Anything else you want to talk about before we head into our segments?
Not particularly. I think that covers it. You know, little nitpicks in the writing here and there.
Yeah.
It had its highs. It had its lows. It had its creamy middles.
Yeah, I'll say out of the 3 main characters, Fran shined the brightest for sure.
I agree.
Although Octavio plus Louis might have shined brighter, but it feels like cheating a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that I'll say these characters here on Promethea are more interesting than Anu and her whole Atlas. It feels
1,000%.
like everything on nothing about Atlas felt like it was good. Like even Reese.
Yeah.
That's where you get the most quippy dialogue. You have Timmy who sucks. You have
Yeah.
Oh my god. One of my lines is from Flong. I wrote it down not because I liked it, but because it was my least favorite in the whole episode.
Okay, what hit me?
Shoot, let me find. Oh, so it's after Anu gets fired, and the space station is being attacked by the other guys, the TDR. And so it feels like oh, shit's going down. We really got to get out of here. But when you tell her you're fired, she responds with, "You got fired? Yikes and a half." Fuck off.
Oh man. Yeah, it's
It sucks because there is some good dialogue, and it's not like it's a complete shit show. It's just, boy, they sure do keep the shitty parts to this one character. Or this one part.
And frankly, the storyline of Anu is probably the one that I am most interested in seeing develop. I want to see this device thing. I want to see her highfalutin, high class mindset applied to Promethea. I think that has some capability narratively. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the dialogue writing for Anu's section of the episode, especially because it was first, like we didn't get Octavia walking down the street and then Anu. I think that would have been stronger for sure. Mm-hmm. Because Anu was first, it just like it made me so nervous for how the episode would pan out.
At least they got it out of the way early.
Well, I mean, it negatively colored the other parts of the episode for sure. Because I liked the frozen yogurt store stuff so much, but I was still thinking in the back of my head, like, okay, is this good? Because the other part was not. Interesting. Yeah.
Another line that I really didn't like, also in the Anu section, although no one says it, it's just some of the writing from when you're scanning stuff. When you scan the safe, it says, where you store your valuables when you store your valuables in an Atlas safe, you'll never ever lose them. And if you do, you need to shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, what? That doesn't even make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which might be the joke on its own, but I wasn't laughing.
It's one of those things.
Just one of those things.
There's clearly very talented writers on this game. Yeah. And there were decisions made to have certain sections be different. And you know what? That is more interesting than not doing that. So kudos to that choice.
Yeah, we sure talked about it a lot.
Yeah. And you know, if it is all just like one writer, very talented at creating different tones in different areas of the game.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. Even at that point, that would just be a choice that, didn't line up with what we preferred. So, I say. Yeah, let's get into our segments.
Let's get into them segments.
You got a choice cut?
So it was hard to pick a choice cut, because I feel like not a lot of things here. Like, there were a lot of choices to make, but because there's so many, I feel like none really made that big an impression on me. It's hard for me to even think of. Like, the choice I made was just what of Reese's shit descended away somewhere, because I like that you have that choice, I guess, and you can get I would assume they're all pretty negative reactions from Reese no matter what you send, but I guess I just like the idea of being able to pick something and see in what way it makes Reese sad. What about you?
So this is a choice I actually didn't make.
Oh.
And that's kind of why it's a choice cut. There's something listed on the choices at the end of the episode under Anu. You and 47% of players did not forge the flaming sword of destiny.
That never came up. I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about.
Yep, that's got to be my choice cut, because there's apparently there's a forging system in this game, and I was supposed to make the flaming sword of destiny, when would I have done this?
Yeah, when would that have even come up?
Is this Vaultlander related? I don't even know, but I have to give my choice cut to it. It's too too interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe it was something you could do with Staple Face or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe I have no idea where it could have come up.
It's at the end of the list, so it makes me think it's a joke. It does make me think if anything here is supposed to actually be fake, it's that.
I guess that's true.
Maybe
they got us.
And just giving me the number 47%. So like, okay, most people did this? More than half made the flaming sword of destiny?
People know people were able to do this?
Yeah, if I talk to Adam, he's going to be like, oh yeah, I love the flaming sword of destiny. My favorite sword of the 7 that I forged.
What, you guys didn't get the flaming sword of destiny?
Gotta be a joke, right? It's gotta be a joke.
I guess so. I guess I like it more.
If it's not, it's my choice cut.
Okay, but if it is, then whatever.
Yeah, I don't. I look at that and I don't feel bad I didn't get it. I feel impressed.
Yeah.
That it could possibly happen.
Right. Mitchell, who would you say is your weekly guy this week?
Hubert Hot Dog.
Mine is also Hubert Hot Dog.
Yeah.
I will say there are a ton of characters to the point where I wrote down in my notes, I was like, this is maybe getting a little crowded.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if I don't think we had like this many characters in the first episode. A lot of shit happened in the first episode of Tales from the Borderlands. Maybe it did have just as many characters because I'm remembering. Okay, well, for some reason it felt, maybe it's just because they didn't do as much here. Like you had all of Octavio's friends who, at the end of it, they were there, they helped out, but I don't know, it didn't really do that much. So it felt like there were a lot of characters that didn't feel like they needed to be there.
Well, in that first episode of Old Tales, you got Vasquez, Reese, Vaughn, Yvette, Fiona, Sasha, August, Bossa Nova, Zero.
What was the name of the guy who owned the Place of Curiosities? My weekly guy that week.
Oh, yeah, he never showed up again.
Yeah, I liked him. He was fun.
Yeah, he was weird as hell, too. They were all very weird. And Handsome Jack. That episode had a lot of characters.
It did, but I feel like they went out of their way to have them making a good impression. I don't really remember Octavio's friends other than Louis. Like,
yeah,
I remember them being
had,
there.
Like 5 characters that I sort of was glued to.
Yeah.
One of them was Hubert Hot Dog. Very close runner-up, Reba Fulfolia.
Yeah, she's good. I would say my runner-up is Staple Face. I liked her dynamic.
Okay. Yeah. glad to have some diversity there in the runners-up. But yeah, Hubert Hot Dog running away with the trophy. The trophy,
oh, man,
it was etched his name in there before it was awarded.
Yeah, he makes it look so easy to be a weekly guy.
He really does. He doesn't do that much. He's got like 3 lines.
Yeah, you know what? Even besides the name, he's just an enjoyable character. Oh, I wish I had more tacos too.
My golden moment was very. I'm very biased here, probably, but yeah, just, the Nowhere song.
Okay, you said the runner-up was your making the frozen yogurt scene, so I was wondering. She was
a runner-up too.
I was wondering what your favorite would be. So it's that one.
Well, she was a runner-up for Weekly Guy.
Okay.
Losing to Hubert Hot Dog, as was Reba Fulfolia, as was Hank. They were all good characters, but Hubert Hot Dog got it with a bullet. My golden moment was the Nowhere song.
Okay.
Yeah.
That really made an impression on you.
It was just so surreal because I was like listening to it in my car earlier that day.
and then you were like, wait a minute, am I in my car right now?
I must be under the influence because I'm not seeing the road because I must be in my car right now.
But then it turned out, no, you were just playing a video game.
Yeah.
You were thrown for such a loop.
God's bait and switch right there. How about you? What's your golden moment?
I just liked when you were making that frozen yogurt for the super happy
good.
customer.
That was great.
It was great because in these Borderlands games, it feels very rare when you just get like a genuine moment of someone being happy about something that's just nice.
Yeah, and in these games, in these episodic adventure games, the adventure of it, like the journey these characters are going to go on, is the thing that really sells the story and sells these characters' dynamics and everything. So I am excited to see what these three characters do, but I am sad knowing that we are not going to stay at this frozen yogurt place for that much longer. I want to just keep making yogurt for people.
Yeah, and like the way they frame it is Fran might be the best frozen yogurt person in the fucking world. Mm-hmm. They frame it like she's extremely good at this, and this girl at the counter, she's losing her shit. She can't wait for this yogurt.
Yeah. She must be, I mean, she looks like an adult, but she has the energy of like an 8-year-old, just like, I can't wait!
Give me it! Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, and I think the idea of being good at it is kind of funny in and of itself. Not that I think there's no skill involved, but like, just put some toppings on the thing the machine makes.
Yeah, you know? I used to work at a frozen yogurt place.
Did you?
I used to be in that exact spot.
How much skill, how much mastery of the craft can you put on it?
Kind of. Like, there's definitely, you can tell when a frozen yogurt is a good, well-made cup of frozen yogurt.
Based on topping arrangement or like what?
I would say just like the way it's easy to get like a swirl that's just sloppy and not very good. And yeah, the toppings are part of it, just being able to have like an equal distribution. I had some coworkers who were not good at the topping part. I would say I was not that bad. I was a pretty good yogurt presenter.
A lot of the frozen yogurt places I've been to around here have the toppings in a self-serve way.
Yeah, nowadays I feel like frozen yogurt places, like not just the toppings, but you can get the yogurt yourself. Like they just charge you by the weight of it.
Yeah.
I did not work at one of those places. I worked at a place where we had to handle it.
Yeah, I wonder if I haven't been to a frozen yogurt place in years. I wonder if COVID's changed the self-serve nature of it all.
Yeah, that's I never thought about that.
Yeah, because ice cream's better, so I go there.
It is better. I ate the frozen yogurt because we just could. Yeah. It was one of those things where you're not supposed to eat the product, but we all do. All of us did, like every day.
Oh, sure. And I would be upset if you couldn't at least get some sort of discount.
Oh yeah, we got
free per week or something.
Yeah, we definitely got discounts, but even like when we were just working, we would just get like the sample cups and just have as much as we want. Cool. We weren't supposed to, but we didn't get paid very well, so none of us cared.
Oh, yeah, the money's coming out of the company some way.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta get your dues. But yeah, I liked it, I guess I'll say. I went into this hearing very negative things and thinking, oh, is this just going to be disaster piece theater? And I got some of what I expected, but I'm somewhat happy and pleasantly surprised that I got some stuff I could latch onto here.
Yeah, I think that our format of the show of like forcing ourselves to go through these, like, will I finish this or won't? It's a decision that's already made for us.
Yeah.
Sometimes makes it a little bit worse. But I think in this case, it's actually made it better because like if you're just hating the writing at the beginning of the episode, you're going to think, oh man, am I going to sludge through 5 episodes of this? But that decision for us is made. So I think we're much more in the business of looking for the good, which is all over the place in the other two playable characters.
Yeah, totally agreed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that sticks around. Maybe things get significantly worse. Maybe things get better, or maybe they'll just maybe just everything with Anu will just suck.
Or maybe like each character takes a turn each episode.
Each character. Okay,
bad.
you have to be the shitty one this time. Sorry.
Anu pays Octavio like $5. Like, okay, it's your turn.
Look, can you take it this week? I made a real bad first impression. I gotta get those Anu points up.
Yeah, that's so interesting though, right? Because in a episodically released Telltale game, they absolutely would hear and act on the feedback about Anu.
Yeah.
And here we have no such guarantee.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess we just gotta see how it shakes up. I don't even know, like, is it just the one or two people writing every episode? Because in past Telltale games, even without that monthly, even without being able to like reflect on the character, you had different writers.
Well, I said Lynn Joyce is the head of writing. Doug Lieblich is the lead writer. But there's a team of writers. There are many more than those two. Those are like the two leadership positions I saw.
Okay, I feel you. Yeah, so maybe it won't be a perfectly even experience. Maybe there'll be some highs and lows.
And we'll share all of those with you, the listener, as we go through the new Tales from the Borderland. That's been episode 1, Startup. And until next time, be really nice and then die.
We're ending the episode? Yikes and a half.